Mr. Hartgrave here, and in this video I'm going to give you some tips on what you need to do to beat that purple star Rathalos, or really any challenge that you're going to face up until you beat all the chapters for the second time. That's where I'm at right now. And so the first thing I want to do before I show you the gameplay of beating the purple star Rathalos is just kind of catch you up to where you should be at by the time you're going to end your second playthrough of Monster Hunter now. So in the last video I did on Monster Hunter, I was showing you where I was at before I completed the first playthrough, and I was advising people to kind of hold off on beating the Rathalos urgent quest for the first time. And in this video I'm going to show you where I'm at before I beat the Rathalos urgent quest for the second time. And I do want to throw it out there that they did do some rebalancing, so you don't have to worry so much about beating the Rathalos for the first time, going through the story one time through. It's not as big of a deal as it used to be. It was a little more... it made a little more sense to hold off until they did this rebalance where you're not getting so many purple star monsters. And actually the problem that I'm having right now is that there's not enough purple star monsters for me to go after. The only monsters that really are going to have any impact, and you're going to see that as I go through my gear, are going to be monsters with purple stars. If I'm not fighting monsters with purple stars, then I'm not really going to be progressing whatsoever. I'm going to be spinning my wheels in place. So right now, I really feel like I'm being pushed towards beating the story again, ramping things up for myself, making things more difficult because I'm just not being challenged the way it is right now. Maybe some of that is the builds that I'm using. I'm going to go ahead and show them to you now. So I am HR 56, and I am about to beat the purple star Rathalos. Here are my builds. So this is my water build. I have a build for every element. There's a couple of different ways to go. I think the most reliable way to go through and play Monster Hunter now is to focus on elemental damage. Focus on the monster's weaknesses. If the monster's weak towards water, use water. If they're weak towards lightning, use lightning. Now you can build into affinity builds. You can do raw damage builds. And your mileage is going to vary on that, but I find that the most effective way to take down any monster is to go upon its weakness. And the more I look at very end game builds, and I'm really only kind of approaching the end game right now. I think end game is when you're fighting kind of, three purple star monsters seems to kind of be where the end game is at right now. And those people that are doing that are really maxing out their elemental damage by getting armor pieces that match the damage that they're outputting. So like for this build, for this armor set, I have an armor set now that corresponds to all my weapons. I'm using a water weapon, but I'm also using Juratoto's chest piece and gloves. Along with the Rathalos helm is just a very good all-round piece of gear to have. You'll want to pick one of those up. It just does attack boost, and that's a blanket attack boost to whatever weapon you're using. I'm using the Diablo's pants and waist for a lot of this. It doesn't really matter. It's just because they have a high armor rating on them. But another interesting thing to find out is that all the armor in Monster Hunter now, it all caps out at like the same top end. So I think all pieces can get to like 130 points thereabout. I haven't been there myself, but that's what I hear. So no matter what armor you like, it's basically about whatever skills you want, and then you farm it up to maximum levels. So really even leather armor can be an end game armor build. It's kind of weird the way it works like that, but of course it would take a lot of materials to get it up there. But you can do it. So if you like a certain piece of armor for its skill or for its look or whatever, any piece of armor can be an end game piece of armor. All right, I wanted to throw that out there. Let me go ahead and show you where we're at with this sword now. Now this, I still have some growth I can put on this. And what I need to farm for this primarily are going to be Fanged Wyvern gems that come from the Purple Star Jaggeris, which I find like maybe like 3 of those a day. this is really why I need to go finish the next part of the chapter, because I'm just not getting enough monsters to farm with these low drop rates. It's becoming very difficult. So right now I can probably level this up. I don't think I'm going to be able to overgrade it to grade 8. I think once I get up to grade 8, what you're going to find, and when you really need to beat the purple star Rathalos, you're going to find you need these like wyvern gems, blue wyvern gems that come off of pretty much any 2 purple star monster. And you're not going to be able to progress your weapons until you find those, and you can only get those on like 2 purple star monsters, and those are only going to spawn after you beat that single purple star Rathalos. So that is kind of the wall that I'm headed to, and that's what I want to overcome in this video, and that's the information I wanted to share with you. So this is my water weapon. That's where we're at. I also have, this is the build we're actually going to use to beat the Rathalos with, a lightning build. This is what I've been dropping. We just did the Pink Rathian event, which I actually found was a lot more fun than the Black Diablos event. So I did the Pink Rathian event. I was able to pick up some Pink Rathian armor pieces. I didn't build any of the weapons. I thought the armor was a little more valuable. That's the only kind of drawback with the Pink Rathian event, is that the gear was kind of meh. This guy's all right. It was like Affinity gear, and Affinity isn't that great right now. Maybe it will be later, so I don't know. I picked up some critical eye pieces to maybe use later on. But yeah, this is the build I was dropping Pink Rathians with. I take down, I've beaten Purple Star Rathalos already. Outside of the urgent quest, I found Purple Star Rathalos in the wild. I beat them using this, and it's basically just a lightning sword. It's once again that Rathalos helm. I had the Rathalos chest piece to this as well, and it's Diablos gloves. Once again, just for the armor rating, the Diablos pants. The only thing that's adding into my weapon here is the Lagania waist, and that's giving me some extra thunder damage. And that's what you're going to see with these end-game builds, is you're going to want to start getting armor pieces that boost your weapon's elemental damage if you're going with the elemental build. And here is what I need to raise this up. I like I said, I just don't see enough purple star Tobykadachi around to even try to get these electrodes, let alone actually get the Tobykadachi electrode. So that's why I really need to progress into the next part of the story, is I'm just not finding what I need. Here's my fire build. This is one of my stronger builds here. This is using, I like the long swords for fire weapons. I'm going to stress that that was in one of my earlier videos as well, where I was telling you how to beat that. This is actually my most watched Monster Hunter video, is my video about the Palomu. And I would stress building a longsword over the sword and shield, or any kind of anything that isn't a sword and shield, basically, for your fire weapon. Because you're just going to miss a lot on the 2 monsters that you're going to fight, Palomu and Lagania. They're flying monsters primarily, and if you're stuck with sword and shield, you're just not going to be putting out the damage that you're going to need to put out on those flying monsters. So I would recommend switching it up. I kind of switch between, sword and shield and longsword. I think that longsword is putting out some of the highest elemental damage right now, some of the highest DPS in general. So I like to switch over to that. And I'm using the Anjanath helm and gloves here to boost the attack power, to boost the fire attack power. Now, I've done something interesting here as well. I'm playing with some affinity on this too. I have the Pink Rathian waist, and I have the Jaggeris legs. And those are giving me a couple levels of critical eye. Level 2 critical eye on this build. And that's giving me a little bit of affinity for some extra critical hits. Maybe boosting up the damage a little bit. I don't know. I kind of just more doing it for laughs than anything else. And you're going to see here, some of these grinds at this level of the game are getting very, very extreme. So even if you're stuck at a low level of this game, keep in mind you're going to need low level parts as you progress into the end game. Like right now, this next upgrade on the Anja Scimitar is requiring 30 Anjanath tails and 20 nose bones. It's like an extreme grind right now. I'm not getting tails every time I beat Anjanaths. I'm hoping that if I'm fighting bigger Anjanaths, 2 purple star Anjanaths, the tails will drop more plentifully. I don't know, guys. It's really becoming quite a grind here to go through here to try to get to grade 8 on some of these weapons. I just want you to be aware. So, like, keep fighting Anjanath. Kill him as much. You're going to need him for your fire weapon. If you're going to build an Anjanath fire weapon, you're going to keep needing these low-level parts. So even if you're just kind of happily grinding it out, don't skip the monsters that you're building weapons for. Any weapon that you're building, any monster that you're killing to try to get like a rare part for, keep killing the lower parts because you're going to need a lot of these lower levels. So even when you're like going for something very rare and you're getting a lot of common stuff, don't get rid of it. You're going to need it eventually in a really big way, like super grinds coming up. Okay. Finally, this is my ice build, and it's the same kind of thing as I've been doing with the other stuff, you know, Rathalos helm, Rathalos mail, Diablos gauntlets, legs, and then the waist here is, oh, I'm sorry, this is the Lagania waist. I said earlier that this was, that my lightning build, this is the Tobykadachi waist. I said this was a Lagania waist. It's not, it's a Tobykadachi waist. That Tobykadachi gives lightning, and Lagania is what gives ice. So this is the ice waist. And then I have an ice sword and shield. I do like the sword and shield for Diablos. I feel it's good to get in there real tight on him. I'm able to beat them without. I've even dropped a purple star Diablos with this ice build, which I could get bigger. But once again, here's another one. I really don't see purple star Lagania. Rarer monsters, finding high-level versions of rare monsters like Lagania, it seems to be rare, at least for me, is becoming impossible. So that's why I really need to go out and I really need to beat that Rathalos. So before I do that, I'm on my last quest of Chapter 12. I need to go out and slay a Tobykadachi. Let's go do that now and see if we can grind our way up to Rathalos here in this video and drop it for you as well. And that was pretty much what I thought was going to happen. So as soon as I beat that Tobykadachi, that final part of Chapter 12, then you just go right into Chapter 13, and there's only one thing to do, and that is kill the Rathalos. So that's a good thing to know. There's not another long grind up to get the Rathalos as soon as you hit Chapter 13. It's the Rathalos fight, and here it is. Let me go ahead and play the fight for you. It becomes pretty, as you can find out if you can beat the Rathalos long before you actually fight the urgent quest, because you should have purple star Rathalos popping up from like as soon as this begins, as soon as you start the second playthrough, you should start seeing purple star Rathalos, and you should be easily beating them around Chapter 10 or so on your second playthrough. So really, this was no big deal for me. I'd already beaten a bunch of purple star Rathalos, and you can see the thunder weapon I'm using is pretty powerful, and I was able just to cleave right through them here without too much trouble. I think I get hit like once, but it's not a big deal. My armor rating's pretty high. As far as Monster Hunter challenges go, it's not very challenging. In fact, that's when you kind of know you're ready to move up. That's when you know you're ready to really just start progressing through the story, is when all of the monsters just become very easy. They're hitting that helm breaker. That's what really sealed the fight for me. There's not much I could do right now to mess this up. And yeah, as soon as I beat the Rathalos, here it should go right here. There's the final hit. Destroy the Rathalos. As soon as the Rathalos is killed, then what that is going to do is it's going to unlock 7-star monsters. That's the end of the story. You just kill the Rathalos, and then this is a double 2 purple star monsters, and my map instantly switched over, and now it's much better. Like, now I'm at the level of the game where I should be for where my equipment is at. And there were lots of little targets. I just went out and I killed a purple star Lagania. It was like the first thing I did because it was just sitting right there. So yeah, I would definitely recommend once you get to kind of the equipment level that you've seen where I'm at in this video, go progress through the story, beat that Rathalos, and start getting these 7-star or double purple star monsters out there in your world. It's going to be much more enjoyable for you. I think so. I mean, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of this video, and let me know if you want to know if you want more videos, what you want videos on. I don't know. I just figured I really wanted to make a follow-up to the Palomo video in the same style, because that one I've just seen grow over time. I think it started off with 1,000 views, and now it's up to like 4,000 views. If you're into this channel for Monster Hunter videos, make sure you like and subscribe. I will definitely keep making them. I keep playing the game. I'm really having a good time with it. I think it's super fun. It is definitely very grindy, but it gets me taking longer walks, and that's what is really great about the game. As opposed to any other Monster Hunter game that's ever been, this one gets me to walk more. So let me know what you think about it, and grave diggers, keep digging.
I've seen the demon's face. I've heard